Hello, everyone. Hello. Thanks a lot for being here. Thank you, Slas, for having us. I'm going to be speaking a bit about what makes a great founder and how we in Antler look at bringing together great founders to build great companies. I really enjoyed the banner downstairs who said, "Are you ready to change something?" That's where we believe everything starts. Thinking about my own story, I literally grew up in farm country in Norway. My two parents are nurses. One was a communist, one was a hippie. But I believe everyone needs a trigger point where they decide what they want to do with life. My trigger point was that my great-grandmother died when I was very young. And I started thinking about, what do you want to do in life before you die? And that brought me on, I think, a quite interesting journey. I ended up applying for this international school in Wales. It's a United World College. You also have those here in Singapore, bringing people together from all across the world, talking about some of the most interesting and biggest issues out there. And I decided that I wanted to do something with that as well. But then in Norway, as you also have in Singapore, I had to go and do my military service. So I joined the Special Forces for a while back home in Norway, the Norwegian Navy SEALs. And there I decided to go out and then focus on what has later been my life, technology. Ended up going to Harvard. And at the time, Harvard was very interesting because you had a lot of really spurning, interesting companies coming out of there. One of them you probably heard about, Facebook. I remember Facebook in the early days. I knew everyone on Facebook. And I find it now quite interesting that I only know a few people out of the 2 billion customers that they have. I think, it's just amazing what they have been able to do in a little more than a decade. After that, I decided to go and build my first company per se. We set up a development project in Africa, a 5-point program delivering clean water, building schools. We built some micro businesses. Before I again started on my professional journey in McKinsey, working with the whole value chain of technology, from semiconductor companies to consumer electronics companies to media companies and so on, in a lot of countries here in Southeast Asia, which brought me to building my first business, which was Zalora.com. How many of you have heard about Zalora.com? All right, almost everyone, so I don't need to talk about it. It was a very, very interesting journey here, biggest fashion e-commerce company in Southeast Asia. What we saw there is the ability to really take people out of what I now call less productive jobs, as McKinsey, or Goldman, shuffling money, or in Google, selling advertisement, or other types of businesses like that, and bringing them in to build new businesses that will have a huge impact on society. And that's what we're now doing with Antler. And what I find really exciting about Antler is that we've come to a time where I think being a founder and being an entrepreneur creates more opportunities and possibilities than ever. Over the next decade, we'll have 100 billion devices coming online. In about 10, 15 years, we'll have 8 billion people online. That means if you have the right type of product, you can reach 8 billion customers. Also, you have this kind of convergence or maturation of technologies. If you think back, it took hundreds of years from the Bronze Age to the Iron Age. It took thousands of years for boats to become, before we had the first iron boat. Innovation is, the pace of innovation is increasing faster than it's ever have. We have, blockchain technology maturizing, we have biotechnology, we have artificial intelligence, we have IoT, we have all these things now coming together at a time enabling us to create products we've never ever been able to do before, and faster than we've ever been able to do before. And that's the business that we are in Antler, is really finding founders to solve those problems. So what makes a great founder? We believe the number one thing is believing that everything is possible if you really, really want to do it, right? Finding something that you really, really want to do and believing that it's possible to solve it. If you think about the Wright brothers, for example, and the first flight, I mean, man for thousands of years have dreamt about flying, but these guys dedicated their life to make it happen. And since they made that first plane fly, we've gone through an incredibly exciting century of entrepreneurs solving more and more interesting problems with flight. You know, latest, perhaps the Falcon Heavy launch of SpaceX a few months ago, where, you know, entrepreneurs is now taking on space exploration. And I think these stories, and there are hundreds of them, and you probably know friends who've done the same, are all stories of people just wanting something to happen deep enough, wanting something to happen deep enough. Now, when you want something to happen deep enough, you have to realize that failure is not an option. It's one of the #1 things we are looking at in our founders is never, ever accepting failure. Yes, you can have setbacks. Yes, your business might not go in the direction that you want, and you might do a slight pivot. But failure should not be an option. And the best entrepreneurs out there are entrepreneurs who have true grit. I mean, look at how many problems Elon Musk had with SpaceX, for example. Look at the problems Apple had on the way to becoming the most valuable company in the world. I mean, I'd say every single entrepreneur, if you ask them, they've been close to bankruptcy or close to losing all their customers or close to something else on the way. And the people who win are the people who never give up. Never give up. You should almost think about it as like being in jail or something. If you end up in jail, you're stuck in jail until you get out. Like being an entrepreneur is about never, ever giving up. I remember in the Solora days, we had similar issues like this that you would never expect, right? We'd spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, lots of money on building a new warehouse in Indonesia. And we'd moved millions of products from one warehouse to another warehouse. And then the first day after we launched it, we had to close it down because people didn't want to go in there and work. And the reason was that somebody had seen baby footsteps in the ceiling. And they believed there was ghosts in the warehouse. And I'd never ever imagined my entire life that my business might suffer from ghosts. But that did happen, and we had to bring people in to help clean this warehouse from ghosts. Another thing that happened one time is like sometimes things can go too well. We launched this amazing campaign once in Solora where literally we acquired in a few hours more customers than we had done the last 4 months, which of course, we hadn't, stress tested our warehouse and logistics system for. So we ended up, having to send the whole office, including, finance, HR, everyone to the warehouse and go and pack packages. And even, I was driving around on a motorcycle delivering packages. I mean, these things happen. And the companies who ensure that they come over these barriers, they are the ones who will really succeed. And the truly successful entrepreneurs, I'd say like 30–40% of it is just not giving up. Failure is not an option. The 4 things we look at in entrepreneurs, on top of what I already spoke about, is #1, you need to have ambition and a great vision. You need to have a real problem that you want to solve, a problem that will make the world a better place in one way or another. The other thing that you need is a clear spike. And what we say about clear spikes is, it can be anything. Like, how many of you know what your strength is? How many? All right, about half of you know what your strength is. That strength is a spike. For the people who don't know what your strength is, you need to find out what your strength is. That is your spike. And drive that and see how we can use that to have impact. We are really looking for people in Antler to come in and be founders who has some spike. If we can't determine that spike, then we are not sure whether the person would be a great founder. The second thing is drive and tenacity. We spoke about that earlier. You need to have the energy and never give up. Tenacity is all about failure not being an option. And the fourth part is integrity. And this one I think is important because you have so many people relying on you as a founder. You have investors who rely on you treating the money in the best way possible. You have employees supporting you and coming on board. One of our employees, Lynn, she's sitting here. She resigned her amazing job in an amazing government agency here in Singapore to come and join Antler and build our company, of course, I need to have the integrity then to turn her into an amazing leader. And that's what entrepreneurs do. They ensure that the whole ecosystem benefits from them. Investors benefit, their employees' benefits get stronger, and of course, most importantly, their customer benefit from the product. There's no shortcut to success for entrepreneurs. There's no shortcut. You need to have the integrity. So these are what we really look for in great founders. And great founders, they have this. Great founders have this. Now, when you have the great founders and the great team, it's all about doing. We call Antler a duocracy. What we mean about that is that it's better, like doing is better than perfect, and less perfect is necessary. It's important, that last part as well. But almost in like 80–90% of circumstances, a lot is about executing fast, ensuring you get a product to the market fast, ensuring that you can get, in terms of the product you're building, making it simple enough to get customer on it quickly, and then reiterating it. Now, the second part of what I said is also important, unless when perfect is necessary, right? Of course, if you're building a robotic instrument for healthcare operations, you want to ensure that the first product you bring to market is perfect in terms of ensuring that operation works. But then you ensure that part is perfect. But in terms of your sales, your marketing, all of those things, you move fast and you focus on execution. And this is also where I believe great entrepreneurs do incredibly well, is that they are very single-minded on this executing on their business. Like the best entrepreneurs I know are extremely annoying people to spend time with, because the only thing they will talk about is their business. Right? I have friends like this who, you just know that you meet them, you spend 3 hours with them, and the only thing they will talk about is their own business. And I think that's single-mindedness you need in all successful founders. So with Antler, what we are looking for are these types of people. We now have thousands of applicants from all over the world. Currently, our program, we have around 200 applicants per week of people who want to come in and build great businesses. And then what we support them with are people like myself who've built businesses before, other people who built even more impressive businesses like Spotify, Lazada, we're part of Traveloka, a number of other amazing businesses here in the region. And then we support our founders on this journey to build a great business. And anyone can apply. The very interesting thing about what I went through earlier, the list of what makes a great founder, is that is not inherited. It's not inherited. And it's not something that, when you are 20, 22 years old, you feel you don't have that, you can't build it. All of those things can be built. Like ambition and vision, you can get today. Ambition and vision you can get today. Drive, tenacity, it's all about really believing in that ambition and vision. Tenacity is about never giving up on achieving that ambition. And then, underlying integrity, all great human beings have. So everyone can be a great founder if you just focus on that. So if you are excited about building a business, or if you know anyone who's amazing and you think would be an amazing founder and are now wasting their time selling advertisement or coding for improvement of a little button somewhere, but rather should go out and use that knowledge to build a great product that positively impacts the world, then come join Antler. We will help these people build an amazing business. And if you don't want to do it through Antler, then do as Slush is saying and has been saying throughout this entire day, and we saw downstairs in the banner when we came in, get ready to make some real change happen. Get ready to make some real change happen. Thanks a lot for listening to me. There'll be a couple of people here from Antler, and I'm back here if you will have more questions. And super happy to get your feedback and input on everything that we're doing and what makes an amazing founder. Thank you for being here.